I don't know why Champions wasn't recommissioned for a second season. It's quite a shame because I actually really enjoyed this. Not that I'm saying I expected it to last for, 10, 12 seasons, but maybe 2 or 3. It was actually pretty enjoyable. This is it's a show currently available on Netflix, and I believe it was NBC where this was originally aired, and it's 10 episodes, 10 episodes long. I watched it over the course of 2 days, and it wasn't perfect. And I don't know how sustainable it would have been, which is why I think maybe 2 or 3 seasons tops. But I was, a little bit disheartened when it finished. It was created by Charlie Grandy and Mindy Kaling, and it's about 2 brothers who live together, one of whom, Vince, finds out that his 15-year-old son is moving to New York to go to the performing arts school, and this is a son he has never seen before, and his son ends up living with him to attend this school, and it's about, him getting used to being a father, his son getting used to being his son, being in a new city away from his mother, and we also have the fantastic Uncle Matthew character, who I really adore. And it's just about, what they get up to and, the troubles they face. Vince and Matthew also run a gym that's got a lot of issues and is failing pretty badly. So there is a kind of side plot, a side narrative there, and I really like some of the cast that we get in that side narrative, particularly Ruby, who's played by Feimster, which is an absolutely fantastic name. That character is really interesting. I would like to have seen more of her, and it would have been interesting to see how she specifically developed if the show was allowed to continue. I did really thoroughly enjoy her. Vince is played by Holm, and Matthew is played by Andy Favreau, and Michael is played by Jodie Totah, who at the time was performing in male roles. She has recently come out, or I say recently, this was released in 2018, so at some point between then and now she came out as transgender, but at the time she was playing a gay 15-year-old boy, and she's phenomenal. Her performance was incredible. I always find it really inspiring when child actors or younger actors put on these brilliant performances, because it's just, when I think back to how old I was then, I had zero confidence. And that's not to say every actor has confidence, but every actor has the ability to put their own lack of confidence, perhaps, aside and embody a character who has the confidence to appear in front of a screen or on stage. And that's certainly the case with the character of Michael. I just love how flamboyant he is, and how Josie, as an actor, she's just absolutely brilliant, and I love what she brought to this character. Mindy Kaling is also in it as Michael's mother. So the casting is pretty good. Oddly, apart from Mindy Kaling, whose work I've not really seen that much of, there wasn't anybody in this I'd heard of, which is rare for a sitcom. Usually there's at least 1 or 2 people in it who I was familiar with. What I did love was the mention of DJ Tanner. I have to assume that isn't a coincidence, and that they actually refer to DJ Tanner, who is, if you've seen Fuller House, Stephanie starts to go by the name DJ Tanner at the beginning, not to be confused with the actual DJ Tanner as in Donna Jo Tanner, but Stephanie becomes a DJ at the very beginning she is a DJ at the very beginning of Full House and goes by the name DJ Tanner. Very confusing if you don't know what I'm going on about, but basically that reference is something that I really enjoyed. I assume it was intentional and not just a massive coincidence. I really liked this. As I said, it's not perfect, but it's pretty decent. The other thing as well is that I'd say half of the cast are Indian or of Indian descent, because Michael is half Indian. And that's not something that happens in sitcoms that often. Usually they'll have sitcoms will have the token gay, the token Indian or Asian in general. But this one actually kind of being, or the other side, the sitcom will be purely either an Indian cast or, whatever nationality it's focusing on. This one's just mixed, and that's rare. That's very rare, and I think that was one of its selling points. But sadly, it was not to be. It did not last past 10 episodes. If it's ever recommissioned, or if another network ever decides to pick it up, Netflix, for example, wink, nudge, I'd gladly watch it. I don't know how it would work now, but what would have been really fascinating is if the show had continued and Josie Totah, came out as transgender, and Michael as a character went through that transition on screen. I think that would have been, the right story at the right time, and I think it would have been quite empowering for a lot of people to watch. But never mind, that didn't happen. I still think Champions is pretty great. Check it out, 10 episodes. If you don't like it after one episode, fine. If you do, it's still not going to take up too much of your time. It's a little hidden gem. I hadn't heard of it. It's on Netflix in the UK. Definitely worth watching.